Talking about Chris Cornell and all that Soundgarden music that's going to be dropped years ago. Soundgarden did a really slowed down, awesome version of this song as like a B-side or something. The song is Girl You Want. It's Devo and Pride of Kent State University. You see Mark Mothersbaugh was doing Kent State ads a few years ago. They're still not in the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame. They've been nominated, I think, the last 3 or 4 years for inclusion, but they get passed over. And with all this talk of bands going on 50th anniversary tours, bands have been around a long time, right? The Rolling Stones and Springsteen and The Who and ZZ Top is on a 50th anniversary tour. Kansas, if you're into the band Kansas. But yesterday was the 50th anniversary of Devo, where they played their very first show at Kent State. They played the Creative Arts Festival at Kent State in 1973. And so 50 years of Devo. Now, again, we were talking about Josh Freese before, possibly behind the drums for the Foo Fighters in this tour. He has been a part of Devo on and off for many, many years. Awesome drummer. And Mark Mothersbaugh has been, he's kind of like a Danny Elfman type, right? Where he's been very involved in scoring films and TV shows. Didn't he do the Rugrats theme or something like that? Very, very famously has been a part of a lot of very popular music, but I certainly didn't think that Devo had been around that long, but yesterday was 50 years of their very first show there at Kent State. And they have a website called 50 Years of Devolution, if you're really into those guys. And again, they strike me as a band that should be in the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame, but they are, as of yet, not. Poundcake's a huge Devo fan. He's got the red ziggurat hat and the whole bit, right? You tell me that?
Yes.
Not even going to fight me on it. He's like, yes, of course, I did.
I've been called a diva, but I didn't know I was a Devo.
Well, you could be a Devo diva. Why not? Cavaliers beat the Knicks last night by a wider margin than the Knicks beat them in Game 1. So they got one apiece now. They will be back to New York Friday night for Game 3. Numerous watch parties in and around Cleveland. Guardians win today, too. They lost both in the doubleheader yesterday against Tigers, but they avoided the sweep, and 3-2 was the final today at Comerica. They will be back home on Friday to play the Miami Marlins. I don't know how the Marlins are doing right now, but who cares? It's still too early to tell. Marlins are doing okay, actually. They're 10-9. My White Sox already stink. That's no fun. If you're a Colorado Rockies fan, they really stink. Every time we're in Denver, I go, we got to go to a Rockies game, and we just have never made it. But I like going to ball games, especially if they're teams I don't have a vested interest in. You know, we travel during baseball season. I'll go, let's see who's playing where. And if it's like Rockies, Diamondbacks, I really don't care about that, but I like baseball. But we just have yet to make it. If you listen to us on iHeartRadio, tell me where you do that from out of state. If you're one of our bureau chiefs. Steve O is brand new out in Highlands Ranch, Colorado. Derek listens in Houston, Mississippi. Emily's in Kalamazoo. Mean Gene listens to the show in Council Bluffs, Iowa. Andrew is one of our bureau chiefs in Newark.
Alan figured out our daughters don't even know each other, probably will never even meet, but they do have something in common. My daughter walked in while I was listening to the podcast, doing some dishes last night, first thing out of her mouth. Why are they talking about farts? Big question mark. I hit pause. I'll continue it later. Hate the show. Have a good one.
Pause? Man, that's what we call a teachable moment in the business, right? Why are they talking about farts? Because he's a grown man, honey. That's why. And he can talk about whatever he wants.
Happen. You got to talk about farts.
Although my daughter, Devotion Accuracy, wasn't asking me why we were talking about farts. She asked why we were talking about penises on the radio. Many years ago.
Buttholes and penises. Daddy.
Buttholes and penises.
Why were you talking about beer holes and penises on the radio, Daddy?
That's right. Unbidden, by the way. I didn't, I got home and Gwen said, ask your dad what you wanted to ask. Just today, by the way, I got a message, and I get these with some frequency, articles about mangroves. They'll go, I can't read about a mangrove without thinking about your daughter, because years ago my daughter schooled me and my wife on what mangroves were, because she had just learned it in school. Neither of us knew. We were watching some nature show, and they were talking about a mangrove, and Gwen goes, what is a mangrove? I go, I don't know. And our daughter pipes right up and tells us. And I was like, cool. Just as I learn things from Poundcake, I also can learn them from a small child. We can all, I'm sure there are plenty of people who are calling me stupid for not knowing what a mangrove was. But mentally, I guess I was more of a boy grove. See what I did? See what I did there?
A mangrove is trees going in salt water. It's so cool, isn't it?
Yeah.
It's kind of creepy to think about, because think about the roots of the tree, and I'm sure the tree goes above the water. So try swimming underneath a tree and have all the roots still in there.
Well, the article that the person had sent me was that because the weather's getting warmer and weirder, mangroves are moving farther north. They're primarily, I think, part of Florida, but they're moving north. They're starting to see them in Georgia. They're starting to see them in South Carolina. And that can really mess with the local ecology. Because mangrove, obviously, they thrive where it's really, really wet. Along the coasts and things like that.
459.
They thrive where it's wet?
Where it's really, really wet.
Really, really wet. Uh-huh.
Same, bro, same.
Yeah. Hustler Magazine, page 30.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, Bill Squire and Hustler Magazine. If you're just tuning in.
And in Youngstown this weekend. Get tickets, BillSquire.com.
Now, will you be selling copies of Hustler on your merch table?
No,
Autographed copies.
Autographed copies.
If people bring Hustler magazines, I'll sign them, but
Nobody gets tickets because of you.
I'll have my new poster. But yeah, get tickets.
You'll be selling the poster, and if somebody brings the May issue of Hustler magazine, where Bill Squire's featured prominently on page 30, you'll sign it.
Correct.
You know right now.
All right.
So get those tickets at BillSquire.com. And stop waiting so long and just get them now.
Stop waiting, yeah.
Yeah, we got to get them now.
I thought you were going to say stop hammer time.
That was also what I was going to say, but I didn't want to, step on anybody's intellectual property.
Sure, you got to protect that IP, homie. Hey, Duke.
Good afternoon, Alan. How are you?
How are you, pal?
Welcome back. You were talking about farts. You know why farts smell?
Why is that?
For the benefit of the deaf.
Right.
For the benefit of the deaf.
Right. Yes.
But that's not why I called.
Oh, it's not, you say? Oh, you say you called for a
no.
different reason, did you, Duke? All right.
Well, I have so many reasons.
Yeah.
But did you ever tend bar?
No, I was a bar back, but I was never a bartender.
Yeah. Oh, if you ever tend, everyone should tend bar. Everyone should wait tables. And at some point in their life, you learn so much about humanity. I was tending bar one day, and this dog pushed the door open and comes in. You don't see that every day. He
Certainly
jumps
don't.
up on the stool, and he orders a beer, and I'm shocked. I can't believe it. It's a talking dog. I got the dog his beer, and I give it to him, and he's sitting there leafing through the newspaper that was sitting on the bar, and I said to him, "You're a talking dog," and he said, "Oh yeah," and I said, "What? How?" I said, "Did you ever think about joining the circus?" He goes, "Why? Do they need an electrician?"
Oh, boy, you would have thought that in that moment, Duke would have gotten a photo of that talking dog just for posterity.
Yeah,
Just for,
you would have
wow.
thought.
Yeah, boy, who'd have
Another
thunk?
time,
All right, let's keep it to
There's
one,
this
dude.
guy is very, very inebriated. He's very inebriated. He's potted. He says, "Where's the men's room?" And I said, "It's third door down on the left." So he gets out the stool and he staggers down the hallway, and I hear the door close. And a minute later, I hear the scream. Well, I don't think much of it, and I give it a second. Another second later, I hear this another scream. So I go down and I open the door up, and he's sitting there. I said, "What's the problem?" He goes, "Every time I flush, it bites me in the nuts." I said, "Asshole, you're sitting on the mop bucket."
Oh, boy, I'll tell you what. It's you got to watch for those mop buckets, Duke.
You do.
Oh, all right. Thank you,
Alan.
Duke.
You have a good one.
I already have a good one. Thank you, Duke. You keep it between the ditches out there. And there's Duke. Boy, you don't want to mistake a seat or mistake a mop bucket for a seat. My goodness. What are the chances? A talking dog, Bill. Talking dog. I thought perhaps the dog came in and signaled for a beer. We've got some kids' corner here.
It ain't easy being a kid. Now look at what you gone done did. Whoa, it's time for Kids Corner. Kids Corner!
Did you see the guy flip his ever-loving shrimp on the flight because there was a crying baby?
No.
This is a guy with his wife, and the wife is mortified as he is flipping out because there's a cry. Boy, Southwest can't get anything go. They used to be the golden child in budget airlines, and now between like their full-on network meltdowns and grounded flights and people flipping out, it's not their fault if, they don't have they haven't cornered the market on people flipping out on their flights, but, Southwest's reputation in general used to be unimpeachable, and now a lot of bad press for them. This guy flips out, and somebody near him is filming, of course, throwing a tantrum, basically, over a baby that's crying.
In a holding pattern for weather.
Oh, okay. Oh, hold on.
And an SW, a passenger loses his mind over a baby.
That child has been crying for 40 minutes. Lower that, and you can't put finger in my face like that. Calm the child down, please. I had headphones on. I was sleeping. Why is the baby yelling? I'm not screaming. You want me to scream? You want me to scream? Please stop.
By the way, nothing will quiet a crying baby like a person yelling in a closed, confined space.
Please. Bro, please. That child was a black baby. What the happening right now?
Bro, racing to
I
it.
know you're not going there. You're not going there. I'm going there. We're not in Florida yet. You can't do what the feel like.
By the way, no, that's not what he said.
Oh.
By the way, the people who surreptitiously film somebody flipping out, they've got to figure out a better way to do it, because if this person's screaming, they're not paying attention to who might be filming them. This guy doesn't have his phone up. He's got it in front of him, but he's shooting us right up his own nose. It's like, bro, either trim or clean or whatever before, as long as camera phones have been around, it's amazing how people still don't know how to frame stuff, even if you're being sneaky about it. This guy is his wife's sitting there. He's screaming at the flight attendants that are standing there next to him. I don't know what the situation is. I don't know if they're if they're on the tarmac. I don't know what. But this is a grown man who is freaking out because a baby's crying.
I feel bad for families on planes, and
there's no easy way to fly. I mean, we have one 7-year-old child. She's a great traveler, but I was talking to one of the flight attendants on our way from Phoenix back to Detroit, and she was talking about how she has 7 kids.
Whoa.
So she's like, when we would go on vacation, I'd have to do a head count. I'm like, 7 kids on a vacation.
That's like some Home Alone type stuff.
Man.
I was asleep the whole time. You haven't served me anything.
I try to keep my calm, but if I wasn't on this plane, I
Because there's a child crying on the flight. Non-stop. That's That's what's next.
Who's worse, a baby or a grown-ass man acting like this?
Can you lower that voice?
That could be bashful.
No.
I don't know why this keeps stopping, but the guy goes on and on and on, and he's just flipping out.
Over a baby.
He's like, I'll scream, we're in a tin can, and blah, blah, blah. And they're like, but sir, you're yelling. And he's like, so's the baby.
It's a baby.
They're like, sir, you're a man. And he's like, did that baby pay extra to yell? And he's telling the flight attendants,
Get
F
some
you,
noise
F you.
canceling
Oh, my God.
headphones. I was on a flight, my flight back from Sacramento. There was a baby crying, and I had headphones on, and it was fine.
Yeah,
And listen, it's not like, if you're a parent of a crying baby, you
so embarrassing.
already know
Mm-hmm.
that people are annoyed, right? But it sucks. What are you going to do?
Yeah, you can't. Not travel, like drive everywhere. It's
Of course, this guy defaults right to, I know an attorney and I got rights. I know an attorney. Who doesn't know an attorney, you dummy?
I know a
So-
judge, Judge Poundcake.
Yeah.
That's right.
And I'm throwing out your case.
What did you say his tagline was going to be, Bill? He will make.
He'll make you gay.
Yeah. He's on his way to having a $13 million yacht, just like Hudge Hootie. So anyway, he's like, if I hadn't said anything, we'd be sitting here with a kid crying for 45 minutes, like his screaming solved anything.
Yeah, you woulda. It's a baby. You think parents want their kid to cry?
They got off the plane in Orlando and forced the entire flight to be deplaned.
I hate people like that.
And they marched him off by the cops. But man, I don't know. People are just, everybody's wound so goddamn tight.
Like, I understand I understand like flight complaints if someone stinks or if there's like if you're uncomfortable in your seat. Those are things that like adults can control. But like a baby crying, you just gotta weigh the pros and cons. Like, do I really want to go to jail over a few hour flight for a baby crying? No.
Well, and by the way, any parent will tell you that when you go on vacation with your kids, it's not really a vacation. Right? You're making sure that they're where they're supposed to be. You're
You gotta
taking
keep
them
them
places.
entertained,
Yeah,
yeah.
it's not, you're not kicking back on the beach and having a good time. You're basically, you're doing logistics the whole time. Like you're in a different place, you're in nicer weather, but especially if you have a bunch of kids, you're chasing them around, you're getting them dressed.
Feeding them.
Yeah, they want to be fed.
They
Even
wanna
on
be-
vacation, they gotta eat.
Yeah.
Hey, here's some dry popcorn. Come on.
You figure it out.
Could you pop it first? No. I got a break. If you like Pink Floyd, the Gilmore Project is celebrating another 50 years of Pink Floyd. This is like a super group. Guys that play for other bands come together to play in the Gilmore Project, and they're coming to Cleveland. They're going to do Sunday, May 14th out at MGM Northfield Park. So if you dig Floyd, hook you up with that coming back.